My name is Tiana, and my Chinese name is the Yang. So I have been living, studying in Canada almost like 7 years. Because I first time
Wow.
coming to Canada is like 2016. So I studied in the University of Toronto, Mississauga, and I choose the program is the psychology and the linguistics. For now, I already be graduated. Yeah, I also applied the master program like already get the offer from the OIC, the development of the education and development of the psychology and education.
Okay, I'll go next. My name's Rachel. My name in Chinese is Rachel Shen. So Shen is my last name. I go with both, so you can either call me Rachel or Rachel. I just graduated this week. I just attended my graduation ceremony, and I was doing psychology too, but I in the psychology specialist program, so I'm only doing one academic program. And I also applied for grad school. I was also applying for grad school this year, and I've got the offer and I'm actually going to the U of T social work program for the mental health stream. Yep, I've been in Canada for 5 years, starting the year that I started my university.
So I have a question about you. It's like, do you experience the homesickness when you come to the Canada in first time?
Okay. I think before I answer all the questions, I might need a disclaimer for everybody because that everything will be based on my personal experiences. So if you feel that we have a similar experience or you might experience a similar experience, you can refer on more what I'm saying. So I am a very nostalgic type of person, and I love sticking with my parents. I have a strong attachment with my parents. So the first time I came to Canada, it was really hard for me to like stay away with them, especially in the first year. I experienced a lot because when I first um arrived in Canada, they accompanied with me at the very beginning. I remember when we usually have the first year like freshman orientations. I refuse, like I don't want it to attend those activities. I just want to stay with my parents, like for the longest time, as long as possible before everything is started. So I think I I yeah, I think I had a lot of homesickness during my first year after like school actually started. The only thing that I wanted to do in my first year is to like finish my study and go back home when the holidays are there. I think so, yeah. And for the second and third year, because the COVID hit, so I think homesick wise, I didn't experience it much because I was back in China. And for the first and like last few years of my study here, I think I'm more already like mature, and I've already spent a lot of time with my parents, and I feel fine, like not as much homesick as in my first year, but still like I miss the food from China because I never felt like I've been craving so much Chinese food when I was in China. Yeah. I don't know if you can relate to any of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get
Yeah.
it. The Chinese food in Canada is very different from the
Yeah,
China,
I
the local
know.
food.
Uh-huh.
So the next question is about
Mhm.
um share your experience with the process of moving to a new country, from deciding to study abroad and applying for a study permit to moving and starting classes.
For the decision of me studying abroad is actually like a step on the path on my like for the path that a step on the path that my parents have paved for me. So they said probably this like they feel like, and I also feel like I've also felt like the Chinese school system is not the one for me because they are very harsh on like doing like really academic stuff at school, but I'm more like an artsy person that I good at doing like some creative projects with groups that I realized that I'm actually doing good on those after I entering the international high school in Shanghai. Um, so yeah, that's basically how I am I answering the question right? So that's basically how I decided to like study abroad because that's more like the thing for me. Like that style kind of learning style is more for me. And how like the experience applying for study permit to move and start my classes here. Um, so I don't know if I think most of people around me, like my class, like my classmates and friends in high school, we all have most of us has like an application agency that can help us with all the study permit and application process. So we just need to at that time when we're still in high school and we're preparing for the like the application, we're just do like everything we need to do is like guarantee our grades,
Wait for
do
it.
all the work that we need to, yeah, meet the eligibility and also the preparation and just study and do everything we need to do at school to apply to the school. So any like study permit wise, immigration wise, we don't have to worry anything about it. That's actually very relieving for us at that time. But now, like looking back on that, I don't think that's like a very adaptable experiences if you have to move to Canada by yourself later because everything related to study permit and immigration issues you have to deal with by yourself. So if you're not, because we were not doing that by ourselves at that point, we don't have any skills, we don't have any like research skills to gather all those information, and we don't know where those information are coming from. So we just like we more receive like a helicopter style of parenting. So all we need to do is do our study and like nothing more we need to worry about. And yeah, that's basically how we step towards university.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that saves me. I just leave my
Yeah.
work to the application agency. They need to just prepare for study.
Yeah.
And for now, I need to apply again in China. So I feel
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
wow, there are lots of material I didn't know how to
Yeah,
prepare.
it's very different. Yeah.
Yeah, like choose some word to describe the life you live in a new country.
Some words that will describe my life in a new
Yeah,
country.
describe it. Yeah,
Uh, so living in a new country, it's definitely been very tough because I'm living like all nearly by myself. Although we have like roommates, but we're like just roommates, not like close friends or stuff. So almost like living by ourselves. It's very tough. We have to deal with all those daily errands. We have running through those rounds by ourselves. We have to resolve any issue by ourselves that we used to. So for example, those immigration applications type of thing we have to do. Um, we need to resolve them by ourselves. We need to apply it by ourselves. Although we do have a lot of support from school, but still the process of applying and like things like internet, we have to also pay for our rent. Yeah, all those type of daily thing that we don't really need to do. We didn't really need to do back home when we were young. We have to like put that put everything in mind, not just like studying. Yeah. I hope that makes sense. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
So even So if I ask you to just choose only one word, what can you will choose
It's been very
to
tough.
describe like top, and the other one something like funny,
It's
maybe studying in
it's
Canada.
mentally burning. It needs a lot of mental energy. Has been very brain frying. Yeah, I like to say that would be the words for this question. So living in a new country has been very brain frying.
I think most of the international students have the same experience and
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
So we go into the next question. It's about
Okay.
share how you transition and integrated into a new society. Do you feel
hmm
welcome?
So, transitioning is a long period of time for me. In my first year, I didn't really get to really transition and integrate it into Canada because it's very like the life here in the university is very like very different from our high school life back home. I definitely felt welcome, but I wasn't that proactively wanted to um and like integrate into the society because I came here with my high school friends, so the only thing that I did is just stick with them and hang out with them and then not really have the opportunity to explore more the culture and this community here over here. But after that, like after 2 years of COVID, like COVID period, like termination of all the social life in Canada, because I was back in China, as I mentioned, it's been tougher because I'm studying in another country. Like I am a Canadian, I am a student in Canadian university, but I'm physically in another country to like study remotely. So it's almost impossible for me to like really get to know the got to know the like the not like the culture overseas. But then after I came back, after like like all the like the in-person classes have been on, I could because at that time I so during COVID I formed like a small community of like a student club and within our campus. So I gather a group of students, Chinese students who love psychology, who are into psychology, who are into mental health. So after I came to Canada, we got chances to actually gather and um, either create activity and plan out activities in Canada or collaborate with other student clubs to like exchange information and more have like the interactive style of communication, either academic wise or social wise. So that would be like a very crucial steps for me to actually step into the Canadian culture. Yeah, and after that, I think I was more clear on what I am doing, so I just seek out for what I'm looking for, either academically or like socially. Then like I was more I'm now like more have a sense of community here. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very clear. So you feel like you find your community or like the support system here in the Canada, something like the
Yeah.
same psychology classmate, yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
or something,
Like community
or the
very is
Chinese
very
friend,
important. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think like having a community is really, really important. You can start like
Mm-hmm.
this is actually a thing that that has to deal with your comfort zone. So like everyone saying that you have to step out of your comfort zone to actually get the thing you want, or actually improve, or to be, I don't know how to, I don't have the words for that, but everyone is just telling us to step out of our comfort zone and you'll get better life maybe. But I think like getting out of a comfort zone is very hard. So maybe one time like a small move is fine. So you can start with a small gathering and then slightly more into a bigger one, I guess.
That because the language is different,
Mm-hmm.
so we also have the issues afraid the communication can be
Mm-hmm.
worse or something
Yeah.
else problem.
Yeah, I agree.
So it depends on your experience. Do you think we need to learn a new language? If so,
A
how
new
was the
language.
process?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like the French,
I
because the
don't.
Canadian.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The university have a lot of like options of different language that we can learn. I learned I learned German in my first year, but I didn't proceed learning that. So I've already forgotten most of them. But still, but I think like a new is like in terms of a new language, I think English speaking is very different from like English for examinations. Because when we were doing English back in China, I'd say like speaking English speaking on a daily basis and
Mhm.
academic basis is like a new language for me. Because although I passed the English test for sure, obviously apparently because it's like a requirement for the entrance of university and application, but still like English speaking is a big thing. Like it's like a new challenge for me. Yeah.
It's like sound like a two
It's
type of
very
English,
mhm.
academic type and the daily
Yeah,
type.
yeah.
Some words
The
it didn't
process.
when you
Hmm.
try to use some word in the daily, the academic words
Hmm.
cannot be find to the useful one. So you need to
Yeah.
learn a new word or new
Hmm.
sentence to express your feeling or what you want to say.
Yeah. Because yeah, we're more surrounded by academic environment. So daily on a daily basis, unless you have a lot of like local friends that speak English or who really good at speaking English, you don't really have the chance to practice like on the like on a daily level. Yeah. So that process is also kind of tough. I think I built more my English speaking when I was doing my volunteering work and like research assistant and stuff. So after I like enter any kind of community that I have, I've got more chances to talk to local like English speaking person. Yeah.
Sounds like your English is more better than me because I like I just kind of
I think
have the
practice, yeah.
communication way.
Mhm.
It's that I also doing a lot of volunteer work or just trying
Mhm.
to go outside and talk to the other
Mm.
person. But something like I just do not want to speak something. I can write or something,
Mhm.
email you something to communicate, but I
Mm.
cannot speak.
Oh,
It's very
okay.
hard step
Yeah.
to try to doing to open the mouth
Like
and
both,
speak.
yeah. The only thing is that you have like the more you do it, you're more used to it. So you're
Yeah.
gonna be more used to it. Yeah. I was terrified when the first time I'm like I need to talk in a group or do like a small presentation or speak out what I like to comment on people's words or like I don't know. Yeah, it's very tough at the beginning. It's very stressful also. I was sweating. I would be sweating if someone like asks everyone to talk and if I'm not talking in a like a group and people everyone has shared their ideas and stuff. after people have shared their opinion and stuff, and I would just silence and sweat.
Same for me. I
Yeah,
just smile and
yeah,
nod head. I said,
yeah,
okay, I agree.
yeah,
We can just put
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
it on the
yeah,
document, then I can
yeah.
read it
Mm-hmm.
and I can do my part
Yeah,
for the assignment or the
yeah,
presentation. Then no
uh-huh.
talking, please.
Yeah,
Or just send a message.
mm-hmm. That's very true.
So, okay, we can go into the next question. It's about how are you balancing staying connected with old friends and making new ones?
So for this question, I'm actually doing a I'll I'll be bluntly honest, I'm not doing well on this aspect about like balancing my old friendship and new ones, because I am not very social type of person. I spent most of the time with myself, and I'm not enjoying too much talking with friends. I only have very few friends, like a very small friend circle. But still, but I do maintain some of the friendship that I had from high school, who is actually not coming with me to Canada. Because I was having a great time in high school and still wanted to connect, but like on a monthly basis or even once a year or twice a year, that we just chat and hanging out. If we're both in China right now, we're probably just hanging out and grab some food and grab a drink or something, but not we're not communicating on a very daily basis because we all have our own work to do. That's in terms of old friends. And for new friends, I like, as that said, I didn't made a lot of friends here. So the most of the friends that I have right now are from my past like job experiences or volunteer experiences. So there only one or two from each group, like each work that I've done. We're probably just like hit on each other maybe once or twice a month or once a week, or even just like like commenting or on their social media or something, not actually chatting. That's my style of socialization, like socialing for me. I don't know if like you have a different experiences on that, or like any suggestions on maintaining a balance.
I think I have worse friendship
Mm-hmm.
to you.
Okay.
Because for me, it's
That
very
I think,
hard to
uh-huh.
keep connect to
Mm,
my old friend, even the new friends.
okay.
I think the most one I
Yeah.
communicate with just only my roommate. Even the classmate, I only have probably the study work or the assignment
Mm-hmm.
presentation. We need to
Mm-hmm.
work together. So then we'll chat them and ask them how we're going, how the process, and
Mm.
then
Yeah, I get it.
no
I totally
no
get
talking
it. Yeah.
anymore. No talking anymore.
Yeah.
I'm very internal people. I just hope
Yeah.
to try to avoid any kind of social communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you asked me to suggest
Yeah.
how can be improved. A little bit hard for me because I didn't have this experience to suggest.
Yeah, I get what you're, yeah, I can get you very well. Like now people's focus are more on their professional development. As we're like university student, we have our schoolwork, we have to worry about our future and stuff. And we identify ourselves as international, so there's much more thing that we have to deal with, like more than friendship. So it really depends on the style. Like you have to know your style of socialing with people.
Yeah, the
So if
personality.
that's, yeah, so if you like being with friends, then you make efforts and you invest yourself into that. If you're not that type of person, you probably just, because you have your own priorities, so you just work on that and maybe socializing is not a thing for you, you just, yeah, do your work and do the thing that you prioritize first. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I just try to change myself, so I decide
Mm-hmm.
to try to enjoy more social activity in different
Mm-hmm.
club,
Mm-hmm.
like the green walk. I think it is there. Or just go to the cinema to watch a
Mm,
movie. Then I try to
mm-hmm.
keep to connected with the outside social, not just keep myself
Yeah.
alone.
That's a really work-life balance style of living here in Canada, because you still need to keep some contact with the outside, like the external world environment, so that you don't disconnect with the society. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't very, very afraid if I still do not talk anymore, do not enjoy the activity, then I just
Mm-hmm.
black out, cannot speak anymore.
Yeah.
Just me alone and do the study and
Mm-hmm.
probably just
Yeah.
study, no something
Mm-hmm.
like gaming or the social or even the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. So it really depends on what kind of lifestyle you're looking into. Mm-hmm. If you want that kind of life, if you want a very social type of lifestyle, you might have to like invest yourself in that. If you want to keep a balance between friendship and also work, then you have to invest in both. I think that's the point of, yeah,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah, I
keeping
just
a
told
balance
myself
for yourself.
just
Yeah.
yeah, choose the
Mm-hmm.
life you feel more suitable. So you
Mm-hmm.
just do it. No thinking about anymore. Do not
Yeah.
mind the other
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just do yourself. And sometimes I think this way also like how to protect yourself if you when you live in a new country
Mm-hmm.
or probably the new different culture, social environment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could agree with that. And also, like, speaking of the balance, the word of balance, either no matter it's balancing friendship or balancing your work life, like maintaining a work life balance, I think it's almost impossible to do that. So maybe finding the unbalance that is for you is the balance. So it sounds a little bit
Yeah.
paradoxical, but yeah, find the pace of your life or the style. If you have to like invest time in figuring out your style of life, that the style that is for you, and that's going to be your balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You. So the next question is, have you noticed any differences in your social life since moving in Canada?
Differences in social life. I Before I come to Canada, I have a kind of very like a stable connection with my friends, because we were attending school every day, every single day, like 5 days of 5 days of a week. We see each other every day, so we won't like lose any connection with any of our classmates or friends that we have in school. But moving to Canada, we all like the people around us, they might be in a completely different program than us with us. And also we have different schedules. We cannot meet each other whenever we want. So, and we have different type of lifestyle, and also we have different like values. Like after entering university, I think the personal like any type of value of you viewing the world is going to come out after like not just after moving to Canada. I think also after entering the university is a thing too. So you're more like in a society than you're with a group of friends. Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference comparing before and after I moved. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there
How
was
about you?
something
Yeah.
like when people go into the 18th birthday,
Mm-hmm.
then after 18th birthday, everyone
Mm-hmm.
have a big chance and they will express their value and you find
Mm-hmm.
notice that we are
Mm-hmm.
different. We probably
Yeah.
share different value and
Mm-hmm.
we have different appointment for the same thing.
Yeah. So if you even if you're doing the same thing, you might have different schedule, and it's hard for us to meet each other whenever we want. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very hard.
so
Oh yeah,
so
the
now
social life.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Oh, you
think
got okay.
another one. Yeah, I just think of it now. I'm answering based on my intuition today because those questions are like keep refreshing my mind with new memories
Mm-hmm.
that I have. So another thing is, yeah, so it's related to what I was talking about. So you really have to be proactive for the social life here and like after moving. If you're not actively maintaining, if you want a social life, if you're not actively maintaining it, people just will just leave you alone. Unless your friends is very, 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 very like social type of person from my experiences. If you're not like investing yourself on that, you might not just get what you want in terms of your social life. Yeah, you really have to be active on that.
I think it's a good actually it's a good chance for me to study
Mm-hmm.
in Canada, a new country, to know and knew the different culture and the different values from the other people and the
Mm-hmm.
race
Oh yeah,
or even the
definitely.
religion. So it probably made me become more tolerant to
Mm-hmm.
can be accept different value, but we can choose the one what we need or we can be take to improve ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like there's too many. There's way more diversity in terms of culture comparing our culture back home and in Canada. So although like I was growing up in Shanghai, it's a very international city,
Mhm.
but international is very different from diverse culture. Like culturally diverse, it's very different. I when we are doing our social life here, we have to, as you just said, we have to consider their culture and getting to know them in terms of their culture. And because I think I've worried a lot about if some type of question is polite to us, is a pro I'm not sure like if that is a question that is appropriate for us to ask another person from another culture. So that kind of suppressed me from um making friends with people with another from another culture at the very beginning. Yeah.
What is the biggest culture shock when you experience it? Your
Culture
experience.
shock?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think there's a lot, but I don't really think of one right now. Uh, what I'm uh what I'm thinking now is probably I think the information intake media, like the media for us to get information is very different. Because because in China we have a like a completely separate social media. We have completely separate social media platforms that we are used to, and we didn't have any most of the time we didn't have much access to the Western social medias. So I think we were not used to using things like email or Instagram to see the latest information that is for us, probably. Like, yeah, I don't have the habits to check my email very often, so I miss a lot of deadlines, I believe. Not just for the academic, for the study, but also things like, for example, the study permit or my any type of workshop or support that are for international students. I have
Mhm.
very little idea of that they were actually happening on campus somewhere. Yeah.
Or probably the email transfer also can be a shock,
Hmm.
culture shock,
Yeah.
the e-transfer.
Hmm.
But in China, we don't have this way to very easy way, just type the email, then you can just
Hmm.
transfer the money.
Hmm. We have Alipay. Like, it's two different type of convenience. Do you mind me adding on
One,
another one? Because I just
yeah,
think of
yeah, you
one.
can go. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Uh, so in the past when we're in China, as I think I mentioned it in the first part of our discussion on moving, like my procedure moving to Canada, cause about like the helicopter parent type of parenting that we received from that we have in China. Um, in Canada, I think another cultural shock that we have to like seek out opportunity by ourselves. So people, when I was in China, like when I was in high school, there's very little, almost no, like classmates or friends around me that have already had a part-time job that they're doing, or any volunteer that they actually voluntarily wanted to do. So yeah, I think that's another one. So after coming here, after I came to Canada, I have to like seek out all the opportunities rather than sit and wait for people to feed me with those information.
The next question. So the hardest thing for you to adapt it is what kind of thing?
Hardest thing to adapt.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have one? Because I cannot think of one right now. I think I just
Actually,
talk
when
too
I
much. I don't.
first read the
Yeah.
question,
Okay.
the first thing coming to my brain is the
Mm-hmm.
nude parrot. Nude parrot. Do you
Nude.
know that? The naked.
What is that? Sorry, what is that?
Yeah.
Could you
Something
repeat?
like
I
the
don't think
naked
I.
person. Something like the naked person
Oh,
go through the
okay.
streets.
Oh, I didn't get the chance to see it anywhere though. I didn't really see
I
it
get
here.
I get a
Mhm.
chance. I didn't realize their had activity on the just on Toronto, probably the Young
Mhm.
Street,
Mhm.
the big small
Ah.
bit more. I when I get there, I just go there to shopping. So when I come back home to go to the
Mhm.
subway the station, then I look
Mhm.
outside the street. A lot of naked person come around past the street.
Oh my goodness. Freedom.
Yeah, it's freedom
There,
and
yeah,
open.
there's
Yeah,
a lot more freedom here.
yes, and something like
Mm.
what what kind of thing well, how it can be happen.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
searched online and realized there's a legal activity. And it's happen
Yeah.
every year. It's happen every year. Then also realize they probably have the beach also can allow to make
Like a naked bee,
just
like
maybe
that
open
allow, yeah.
and free the
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes. That is a huge culture shock because I don't
So
think we have
this
any. Mhm.
it would be hard for adapting for the culture.
Yeah. I think if there's a culture shock, that it might feel hard for us to adapt to, because we're all already used to what we're doing for like almost 20 years, and then it comes hit by another style of doing things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can't remember detail. I probably when I come to the Canada, probably the first year or
Mm-hmm.
the second year.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably something like I probably like the first time or the twice time
Mm-hmm.
to go to the shop, to go to the downtown city. They
Mm-hmm.
look at it. They are fun. They have the activity. So I will feel like I'm probably still new here in Canada.
Uh-huh.
I should have a lot of thing and culture to need to study. So let me change the emotion. What was the pleasant surprise about moving to the Canada for you?
Wasn't surprise. Wasn't surprise. I think my brain just stopped working after answering all those questions. Let me I think
Probably
I
your
need
brain
I
still
need more
remember the
time.
naked person.
Yeah. I was still on the spot of your answers. Wasn't surprised. I think overall, like, the life in Canada is pretty pleasant for me, because the weather is so nice. I mean, the weather in summer is so nice, and the one in winter, it's like a disaster. Like, I
Probably in the
haven't
spring for
experienced
right
any of
now.
that kind of cold. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Summer and spring in Canada is the most surprising moment I got. And also, after I came to Canada, my allergic reactions are all gone. Because I was a when I was in Shanghai, when I was living in Shanghai, I got allergy very frequently, like every every season. I'll have to take medicines for a week or something. But after I came to Canada, my like all of those reactions are gone. I think that is the most surprising thing that I've got from Canada, like moving to Canada.
Yeah, probably you can see the four different kind of season, like the
Hmm.
snowing or the windy
Oh
day,
yeah,
something
for
like the ice
sure.
rain.
Yes. And also, like, the people here are very welcoming. I'm not saying that like in China they are not welcome, but on a they're more open to different cultures. They they like to know about your background or the culture that you grow up with. So in terms of like acceptance of new culture, they're more open to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Hmm.
feel like I have another one, something like the culture shock. It's about the
Hmm.
dessert in Canada.
About
Too sweet.
about what? What was
The
that?
dessert. Something like snack or
Oh,
dessert.
dessert.
The
Oh,
sweet thing.
okay. They're very sweet. Hmm.
Sweet.
Hmm.
It's very different from the China
Chinese style
food.
of pastry and stuff. Yeah.
Chinese style. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can be
I
taste like
agree.
sweet, but not too much.
I think I'm now like slowly like adapt to it right now. That's
Yeah,
probably why I
yeah, for
gained
me,
weight after I came to Canada.
yeah, for me,
Hmm.
I did have some same point, same of it, same
Hmm.
too, yeah.
Hmm.
Because when I in high school, my teacher
Hmm.
and she will buy a lot of dessert for me to like taste some local Canadian food, but she didn't
Hmm.
eat any. She said, I hate it. It's very sweet.
Wow.
So yeah, she can buy for us to taste, but she will never touch one.
Oh
She will
my
never try it because
goodness.
she knows it's very She
Very
know is very
sweet.
too
Uh-huh.
sweet, very
Mm-hmm.
sweet.
Wow. She has good like inhibition on craving sugars. Because sometimes even like for me, when the time that I'm really craving sweet is when when I feel stressed. So yeah, the intake of sugar here helped
Yeah,
me release some of the
to the pain,
stress. Yeah, relieve the stress level for me a little bit.
physical to release your stress and pressure.
Hmm. But I gain weight. Yeah. So academic wise,
Mhm.
I'm I'm curious that if studying abroad is the thing that you've always wanted to do, or it's just on top of your mind if it's just or yeah.
Uh, for me, it's a little bit similar as you. My
Mm-hmm.
parents choose the way to is
Mm-hmm.
like go outside study in different
Mm-hmm.
country. Probably more
Mm-hmm.
easier to keep study in China
Yeah.
because the different learning style and the in China the most of people will focus on the score. If you
Yes.
didn't
The test
get
scores
enough score, you
especially.
cannot have a school.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
a
the enough
major
score to be
determinant. Like most parents think of like in China, the examination scores, like the test scores, is going to determine like your entire lifespan, and that's probably not for people who have have their interest and specialty. Because like for me,
Mhm.
I was very into psychology since I was in middle school even, but there's no options that for me to get onto that track that I'm actually interested in. So yeah.
So I just get
Hmm.
find reason. So probably they I want to um study abroad because I don't need to choose all the class to study. I
Oh
just need to pick
yeah,
up what
we have
kind of program
options.
the yeah,
Yeah, we do
we
have
don't
a
need
lot
to
of
pick up
options.
all the course.
Yes. Yeah, that helps us release much of the stress from everything. Because in China, like the school system, I respect them so much because they have to like study and learn, like work on their assignments 24/7. I don't think I'm exaggerating because for the entrance examination in China, you have to be consistently good to maintain. I don't know. That might be very like that. I'm speaking it in an extreme way, but that's what I perceive how it works. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
also
it's
there are
very
special
draining
things
for some
like
people. Hmm.
yeah, the special things like in China, which they just
Hmm.
see the final exam scores, not the
Hmm.
average.
Not the
No, didn't
process.
consider
Oh
about the
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
consider about the assignment, homework, or the presentation, something like this.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so
So
it's that the
everything you
whole
do.
pressure just
Hmm.
it's that the whole pressure just focus on the final exam. Only one terms. You
That's
cannot
true.
be literal.
There's no chance to return to do that again. So the one score you got, you have it forever. That's going to determine your
Whole life.
the next level of your the at least the quality of your next level of development, I guess. Yeah.
I feel something like the academic background.
Hmm. Like development, like professional development wise. So for the next question, so could you tell me about your a bit about your academic journey since you've been in Canada? So
Very
for me, I guess
easy.
it's maybe from high school. Yeah, very easy.
Very easy. This
Oh,
is my first one in my mind. Coming out in my mind.
okay.
Very easy.
Really? Because you
Something
moved
like
here in high school, right? Is that
yeah. So
because
it's
of
like
that? Okay.
something like the math.
Oh,
The
like
high like
high school math.
the Canadian high school math is very how to say lower level for the China middle school math.
Yeah, it's more similar. Like the level of difficulty, they're more similar to our middle school,
Middle
like the
school.
first 2 years of middle school math. So yeah.
Yeah. So I feel
So
like wow, it can be very easy to study in high school, not in China. Very different in
yeah,
China.
yeah. What about the others? Like you're not just doing math, right?
But
Yeah.
you need to do in math. But you need
Yeah,
the
you need
math.
to do math. What about
So the
university?
other
hmm
university, I feel like just some kind of
hmm
harder than the high school.
Harder than high school?
Yeah,
So
probably
what
because
makes you
the
feel like the hard like the difference in hardness
something
comparing
like you need to learn more specific and academic term
mm,
for your
mm-hmm.
course and your program. And you should remember it and
Yeah, that's
write
true.
a very long assignment. Probably the
Assignment on
presentation.
that. Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, like in university courses are more in depth than for sure in high school than what we were doing. And it keeps leveling up after we get into senior years. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah. I'm curious about actually your study habits because as you said, like like the level of difficulties are a little bit different between when you're doing high school schoolworks and the one you do you did in university. So have your study habits changes during that like after and evolved over time, like in general?
Yeah, I think the how to say the major habit changing is the free study.
Mm? Free study?
The free study, you need to pre-reading
Oh,
your
okay.
textbook
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and the slide. Then you can get it, can learn more easier when you're in the lecture or the
Mm-hmm.
tutorial class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that because I think like for university classes, if you don't look at you don't preview the content that the like the professors are going to talk about in class, it's going to be very hard to for you to catch up on everything that the everything in class.
Yeah, something like very become very hard to ask some question in class when
hmm
you find it because sometimes
hmm
when the class ending, you are never you can't it will be very hard to remember what kind of question we want to ask. For me, it
hmm
can be habit.
hmm Yeah, for me too, because I have to prepare like everything that I might need to ask the professor before class so that I get like the like I can optimize my productiveness in class. But also, I think that's also depends on the study style, different style of study that you have. So, yeah, the thing is that you have to figure out your style. I think probably that's the habit that changed for me because we have to
Yeah. Also there
build a schedule
yeah.
for everything.
Also there yeah, there also have another change for me for the
Mhm.
study habit is the electronic equipment, the computer and the iPad.
Oh, yeah, we're
Because
more doing.
I some of that would like to write by my hand to write down the words while study for the class. But in university, everything is on iPad. Everything is the electrical document or the
okay.
PPTs.
That's more like eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Eco-friendly for because they have to because we're gonna have a lot of notes done for the university classes because the workload is not funny at all.
Yeah,
Right.
and also there are more homework and assignment you need to do with the computer. So like we have the paper can
Yes,
be
yes, yes, yes.
right.
hmm So any technical difficulties that you have to change your habit, like the actual habit because of that.
Yeah, but
Um,
I try to check like when I how to say review my notes to study for the exam. I will do it again to handwrite my notes. Write
hmm
write again my notes to keep my
hmm
could keep in better in my memory.
Mm. So, like, is there any difference in your student life that is before moving or and after moving?
I think the
That is
biggest one
different?
is that the time you spend on your homework is
Oh,
very different.
that's very true. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'd
you
say
don't have
that's
a
the
lot of.
difference
Mhm.
between like Chinese high school and Canadian high school because I don't think the workload in university is like very less, very much less than like the high school workload in China. Because I usually spend a lot of
Right.
time on doing my assignments in university still. But comparing to Canadian high schools, it's like comparing Canadian high school and Chinese high school, it's definitely much less of a workload. Okay, this is a work-life balance answer, but regarding mental health. So do you have some tips for students, like international students, to maintain a work-life balance?
Um, can you give some suggestion?
Oh, I think I found the words how to describe it. You need to know what you like
Mhm.
to do for your spare time when you're not working at all. You need to know like you need to find something that you love to do and you don't have to worry about anything when you're doing that.
For
So
me, I
yeah.
think the balance is the how to say the suitable life you or the way you choose to how to work and how to live. You should
Mhm,
know, you should clarify what the actual thing you want to do or you need to do. And you
mhm,
also need to consider about your ability
mhm.
for the goal.
Yes.
It can be achieved or not. If not, we can choose another way or probably the smaller goal
Mhm,
to keep yourself can be a more activity.
mhm. Yeah, that's very practical tips for like students because you have to I think the main point we're both addressing is that we have to like spend time on getting along with ourselves and get to know our own type of style of doing things. So know our passion, what we're passionate about. Is it going to like the style I'm going to like the style of us doing investing ourselves in what we love, I guess. Am I don't I think it makes sense.
I think for me, I probably say like being
Mhm.
a selfish person
Yeah,
to do
definitely.
what
Cause
you really
mhm,
want.
mhm. I think that's also like a thing for that is about like cultural difference because we're both raised in more of a collective style of society. So we tend to
Mhm.
be more people pleasing. then spending time on exploring what we actually into for ourselves. So I think that is very important
Yeah, you
for the
also
work-life
should
balance.
notice that
Mm-hmm.
you also should notice you how to say, a perfect person is a very good goal, but you should know you can do it or not.
Oh, so you need to have the ability to assess your capability of doing that thing. It like, but I don't know how it connected to work. Oh, so you know like what you need to do for now
Yeah,
to reach the goal that you are looking for, so that you can have a work-life balance, but not draining yourself too much on what you what is out of your capability or capacity. So how do you do your de-stress? What is your de-stress procedures are like?
uh, play the Sudoku.
What is that? I probably don't know what you're talking about, because yeah,
You can just
Sudoku.
search online.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. That's a very
It,
intellectual type of style, like a style of releasing stress.
yeah, it's like I hate math, but I also play the math game to keep me,
Ah, okay.
yeah, to divide my
Wow.
attention to not focus on
Mhm.
the stress.
Okay. Like, so that's what you like doing, right? Because yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Like, you have to know what you like to do to like outside of doing the actual work, like studying and working and volunteering and stuff. So help you relax a little bit and focus on something else that you like.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
also have
I totally
another
agree with that.
something like the come
hmm
away.
Oh, it's another
Mm.
similar game, type of board game.
No, mm, most of the time I play the Sudoku and
hmm
eating a big dinner. Nice dinner
Oh,
for me.
food, nice food, like a treat for yourself. I think me too,
Yeah,
because when
the
I am really stressful, I tend to seek out my comfort food.
yeah, the Sudoku game can help me to be calm down and stay
hmm
pleased to think
hmm
about the question or think about the stress,
Mm,
how it coming out and how to solve. And the
mm.
nice dinner, nice food treat me to
Yeah, make you happy.
congratulations, you already solved the
Yeah,
solved the problem.
yeah, like a huge like a celebration for yourself. Like also like rewarding
Yeah,
yourself, like rewarding your achievement or hard
yeah.
work. Not necessarily achievement, but also the process, the progress you made. Yeah,
Something like
I agree with that. That's a really, yeah,
you earn for the good food. You should have the good food. You should eat
yes,
well,
yes. Eat well, sleep well. Yeah, eat
study
well,
well.
sleep well.
Yeah.
Yeah, study well. So, because you mentioned that you're moving towards your graduate study in OIC, um, what do you think you'll miss about the undergraduate life? Because I know like like masters and other postgraduate programs are going to be a little bit different from what we're doing undergrads. What would you miss the most about that?
Probably like I can learn different program knowledge.
Ah, yes, it's more focused on one specialty instead, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because for me, I also interested to like study in
Mm-hmm.
different program to
Mm-hmm.
attach some new knowledge, to
Mm-hmm.
learn some new thing.
Mm. And then, because I think we're more moving on to a professional type of learning, what would you say, um, something that you're looking forward? in your grad school life?
I probably like I can learn some more specific and detailed knowledge for my
Mm-hmm.
future job or the
Mm-hmm.
career, something like
Yes.
some specific skills and the
Mm-hmm.
specific research way to help me and enhance me in my
I
ability
see.
and skill.
Mm-hmm. I think that's also like the difference between a postgraduate program and undergrad, because the one that I'm doing, it has a lot of practicum that we have to complete. So it's more like a practical style of applying the knowledge that we learned so that we have a more comprehensive vision on what like the type of work we're going to do.
Yes, that
Yeah.
you have more time and opportunity to use the what you learn from the school and
Mm-hmm.
know how it's coming out and how it's
Mm-hmm.
affecting.
Yeah. Yes. So you get the hands-on work actually, not just doing the like surface level of intaking knowledge. So, because we already talked about the
And
undergrad and postgrad life, what would be the next 5 year look like for you? So maybe the first 2 years are about the postgrad, and then afterwards, do you have any expectations on your process, or yeah, what will be it look like?
I just have a simple goal like the other normal people. I can get a job
Mm-hmm.
with a higher
Mm-hmm.
eh, higher salary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you gonna stay in Canada, or are you planning to go back home?
I'm planning to go back home because
Um,
for me, I
mhm.
live in Canada enough.
Oh, that's enough for
I
you
do
to
not
live in
prefer.
Canada?
Yeah, that is enough
Uh-huh.
for me to live in Canada. Because at the first time, I
Mm,
didn't consider it about my postgraduate program study in Canada. I tried to exchange another
mhm.
country, but my parents and my
Oh,
friends say you should do it
mhm. Okay.
because I
So the
didn't
next five.
plan my future 5 year. I just plan my
Oh,
future two
okay.
year is my
Okay.
finish my
Okay.
post
Yes.
undergraduate
Yes.
postgraduate program.
Mhm. Mhm. Because things change. Like things change. Like the only thing that is not changing is like forever changing. Has your student life since moving to Canada what you have expected?
Before I moved in Canada, I did not
Expect
expect
anything?
anything.
Okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
Um, study hard at first time. Study,
That's very,
study
yeah.
hard at first time.
Mhm. Yes, that is very
It's that,
practical. Mhm.
yeah, it's like maybe try to make some new friend. Not like me
Yeah.
now, I hate communication.
Yeah. Do you think that she'll take your advice?
I try to make it become true, but for me, I still lack of some confidence to do it and
Mm,
brave. Like some confident and brave to do
yes,
it
yes,
what
yes,
I'm trying
yes.
to do.
Yeah.
Always I give me the advice for my youngest me is the
Mhm,
be more brave and confident to communicate with other people
mhm.
and do not be shame or
Yeah.
be feeling sad, feeling bad, your language
Mhm,
speaking, your accent.
mhm. Yes. And also, yeah, can you share, because based on your advice to yourself, would you like to share like a piece of another advice for future international students?
Um, Everything. I think most of the international students don't like me.
Really?
It'll be hard to
I
get
because
session.
I feel you a lot of times when you're talking about, yeah, your experiences. I can like
Yeah.
really like feel I think I resonate a lot with yours with some of your experiences regarding your like feelings and hardships and yeah, and either academic wise or in your lifestyle. Maybe I'll give a piece of advice for my younger self and also the future international students. That would be don't afraid to seek out for help. People are really welcoming. They're more friendly. They're like friendlier than you maybe than your first impression of them, especially for those people working on campus and those student services. If you don't know anything, you can just go and ask them. They will, even if they couldn't like answer your questions, they might be able to help you get to the right place for the help. And because we have a lot of international students in Canada, and like you're not the only one that is suffering, although the adversities is are very may vary upon your experiences, but everyone like are there to help. They're ready to help. So yes, get in connected with professional that like getting connect with those student services and don't afraid to seek out help. Yeah.